You know, Blizzard, you started off yesterday coming in hot. You did great. You did great. And today, you did a lot of good stuff too. But then you had to go and piss us off as a WoW community. What were you thinking? Okay, before getting into the really big issue of today, let's first talk about one of the very beginning questions. And this is something that is honestly going to be on everyone's mind, especially if you played at the launch of Classic. And that is, how are high population numbers going to be handled in TBC Classic? If you look at the size of Azeroth compared to the Outlands, the Eastern Kingdoms, and Kalimdor, it is a much bigger world map than just Outlands. So everyone's expecting a terrible experience with everyone from Azeroth trying to funnel into the Dark Portal, and all of us going to Hellfire Peninsula. Maybe a few people will skip ahead to Zangarmarsh because they have a few tricks up their sleeves or whatever, but everyone's going to be funneling into the same zone. So how are they going to handle this? And the funny thing is the initial answer to this question was, well, we're going to try to keep the servers stable, which honestly I thought was kind of a funny answer. Obviously, you guys want to keep the servers stable, but that's not what we're asking. What we're really asking is, are there going to be some sort of mechanics such as layering or phasing or dynamic respawns that are going to help with this overpopulation? That's what we really want to know from this question. And luckily, later on in the panel, someone asked exactly this. So I'm going to tie it into this question because the initial answer was, we're going to try to keep the server stable. But later on, they do mention that there are possibilities for layering for a short period of time if necessary. And I assume that this answer that they're giving us means, yes, we're willing to turn on layering for the initial launch of TBC, which honestly is really important because it will be hell trying to level in Outlands without any sort of layering. Trust me, guys, if you didn't play at the beginning of Classic, just trust me on this one. And if you did play at the beginning of Classic, you guys know, we need this. So, Blizzard's 1-for-1. Are they going to release layering when we need it the most? And they said yes, they're willing to do it. So I'd say that's a positive answer. So they're 1-for-1 in my book. I don't know how you guys feel, but so far they're doing pretty good. Now, moving on to the second question, in the Burning Crusade Classic, will there be any possibility of any significant class tuning? And the answer to this was also pretty good. They're not going to be changing any core class mechanics or core class spells or anything like that. But what they did answer is, and this is important for a lot of people to know, is they're going to be shipping off the TBC client with the last patch of TBC. This means that all the items that we'll gain access to in the dungeons, most importantly, the blacksmithing weapons, are going to be as if they were in the last patch. That means that these blacksmithing weapons, such as the hammers that proc for haste, which I know a lot of melee want to get their hands onto, you can use two of them. It is one-handed weapon, not a main-handed weapon. So you can use two, which is great news for the melee. Also, Karazhan, Mag, and Gruul are going to be the initial raids out, and if you guys didn't know, a lot of the Karazhan loot was not that good in the initial patches of the game. It was actually very bad, and honestly, oftentimes, not that much better than some of the gear that you already had access to from quests, heroic dungeons, and so on. But later on into the game, these Karazhan items were revamped a bit and given a bunch of stats to make them a lot better. So that means that our characters will feel slightly more powerful at a slightly faster rate as compared to going by a typical patch by patch progression with all of the micro changes in between each patch. Okay, so I think they answered the no changes or some changes pretty well as well. And we're going to give them, at least in my book, we're going to give them a 2 out of 2. I don't know how you guys feel, but so far, 2 out of 2, they're doing pretty good on day 2. You know, not disappointed whatsoever. They're doing pretty good. Now, for the third question, will Summoning Stones be available at launch of the Burning Crusade, or will they come later? And as you guys may have not known, if you didn't play on private servers or didn't play back in the day, these Summoning Stones, you couldn't summon your friends with them at the very beginning. But luckily, again, they came through with a pretty solid answer, and they said, yes, the Summoning Stones, since we're launching it in the last version of the TBC client, they are going to be working at launch, which I think this is a net positive. There's no reason in delaying this mechanic just for the hell of it. I think this is the proper way to release it. So I think so far, 3 out of 3. Good job, Blizzard. You're doing pretty good. And for the fourth question, which, spoiler alert, I think they are also handling this appropriately, in the Burning Crusade, how will PvP titles such as Gladiator, Duelist, and Rival be determined, considering that we don't have established battle groups? So what people are really wanting to know is, how do I get that Gladiator title? And back in the day, you would have the top player of each battle group getting these coveted titles like Gladiator, etc. But we don't have established battle groups, as pointed out in the question. So how is it going to be handled? And they responded by saying they'll have the top percentage of players gain access to these titles. They didn't clarify what percentage will unlock what bracket you need to be in exactly. All they said is this is going to be a very coveted title, which it should be a coveted title, and that only a small percentage of players would gain access to this title, because just like back in the day, there were only a small percentage of players that could actually qualify for this every single season. So I'd say that's a pretty satisfactory answer for the PvP as well. So far, Blizzard's on a hot streak, no problems, can't go downhill from here, right? I'm sure it'll be fine. Will you open fresh classic servers in addition to the TBC servers? There seems to be a large demand for it. And they said, unfortunately, that there's not going to be any fresh classic servers that start up anytime soon. They're more focused on TBC launch, and after TBC launch, they said it could be a possibility. So I think that this is not the best answer that we were all expecting, but it is a decent answer, because we want TBC launch to go smoothly. So Blizzard, do whatever you have to do to make to make TBC launch and have it be smooth. But also, a lot of players join the classic hype train a little bit late, so there is quite a bit of a demand for a fresh classic server, and I think that people would really enjoy that. So I do hope that it's not just a possibility, and we do get a server for those people that want to play classic and may have joined in on classic a little bit too late. All right, guys, we are going to get into the really big problem of today, but before we do, there was a quick question and answer stream on Mr. GM's page, which I will link in the description down below if you guys want to watch over and see what exactly they discussed. But he talked to 2 of the developers about TBC Classic WoW and asked some pretty important questions, actually. The first of those being, is there going to be a drums nerf? If you guys don't know, and a lot of people know, in TBC, the strongest profession is leatherworking, because you can pop drums of battle and constantly be buffing your group at all times in the raid. So that is widely known as the best PvE profession, and in a min-max type scenario, everyone in your guild is going to want this profession. And they're well aware of it, and they said that they're looking to make some changes. They didn't exactly state what. They said they like the fact that there is a strong profession, but they did say they want to make some changes. We don't know exactly what that is, but we will be looking forward to seeing what exactly they do to it. Also, they are looking to push up the season of Arena a little bit further towards the beginning of TBC. They want Season 1 to come out in Phase 1 with Karazhan, with Magtheridon's Lair, with Gruul's Lair, and that they're going to take away a season launching on Zul'Aman so they can push it towards the early game more, which I think personally is great. Also, lastly, he asked, was there any was there any way that we were ever going to get a Classic Plus? Because a lot of us have asked and speculated about a potential Classic Plus, and they said they're listening, quote unquote. But as of right now, it kind of sounded like a no. And they said, let's just get TBC out and we'll worry about TBC first. But honestly, guys, it sounded like Classic Plus is not going to happen. Maybe I'm wrong, but it sounded like it wasn't going to happen, unfortunately. All right, now let's finally get into the big problem, what you guys have been waiting for, and I hope you guys are ready. Oh, man. Okay. All right, guys. Make sure your heart rate is low. Make sure you're in a very calm and relaxed mood before I go over this. Because this will piss you off. Okay? This will piss you off. And frankly, I'm getting a little heated just even starting my recording right now to record what I'm going to say about this. I don't know if you can tell I'm talking faster. This pisses me off. They said, moving from Classic to Burning Crusade while keeping a copy of my character on Classic to play separately. What's that going to look like for my gold, my items in my bank, etc.? Am I going to see any differences when I log into that character on different realms? Oh my god, you guys, listen to this response. And with how many years of experience Blizzard has, I am extremely shocked that they're actually letting this through. So what they said is, when you move your character to the TBC realm, you're going to be able to keep all your items that you've been saving up over all these months and all your gold. Okay, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I expected that. People worked hard to make their money. They want to carry it on to TBC. That's fine. Now, if you guys remember from my previous video yesterday, which if you didn't listen to that video, please go pause now, get caught up on that video because I am going to reference it right now. So if you remember from the video yesterday, they said, oh, but you can pay for a service and also clone your character and take it to a Classic Era realm. That way you can make your one warrior, listen to this guys, or whatever class you're playing, you can make your one character that has 50k gold or whatever you have, you can take him to TBC. He'll have his 50k gold, whatever you want, blah, blah, blah. And you can also move him to the Classic Era realm if you pay a small fee. We don't know what that is, but if you pay a small fee, you can clone your character and take him to the Classic Era realm. Which means, and they stated this in the panel, that if you clone your character and put him on the Classic Era realm, you also keep all of your gold and items. You can now pay a fee to duplicate gold in the game. If you guys haven't been farming gold in Classic WoW, get out there, log on, do it now. Because if this launches, you can literally pay $15 or $20, whatever the fee is. You can clone your gold. You have 50k gold, maybe some big baller whales out there have 100k gold. You can clone your gold. And then also you say, oh, well, this is on a Classic Era realm. What if I want that cloned gold on TBC? Well, they also announced yesterday and reiterated today that for a small fee, of course, $15, $20, whatever it is, you can also, if you changed your mind and don't want to play Classic anymore, you can take that cloned character and move him to the TBC realm as well. Wow, what a thought. Nothing could go wrong with this. Am I right, guys? Wow, look at all of our hundreds of years of game development experience. I don't see any problems with this. As you can see, guys, this has got me a bit pissed off, and I think it should have all of you guys a bit pissed off too. If there's any time for you guys to show one of my videos some love, and I'm not just saying this for me, I'm saying this for the WoW community, because this is going to be a mess. If there was any time to show any of my videos some love, it is now, boys. It is now. So if you want to show this to any of your YouTuber friends, streamer friends, or show it to your guild, like the hell out of the video so the YouTube algorithm picks it up. This needs to be addressed. Seriously. This is going to completely ruin the value of gold. You guys might be thinking, Alive, maybe you misinterpreted what they say. Well, sure, maybe I did. but I don't think I did. And I'll have you guys take a listen for yourselves. I've got the clip right here, so let's go ahead and give it a listen together. And you guys tell me, am I wrong? Because it sure does seem like you can pay a small fee to now clone your gold in TBC Classic.
Burning Crusade, while keeping a copy of my character, let's say, on Classic to play separately. What's that going to look like for my gold or my items in the bank? Am I going to see any differences when I first log into that character on the 2 different realms I'm then on? And will they then go off into their own separate timelines, never to join again?
Great question. So I'm going to do my best to explain this simply because we weren't able to get into a lot of the details. So for you, I'm going to give you an example of how it's going to work. In my case, I'm going to use my very original character named Holly on Wyrmrest Accord. And I've got we'll assume I don't play a lot of alts. Let's just say I have 2 characters. So I've got a level 60. When I log in on pre-patch, I will log in at that moment in time. We are taking a snapshot of the character when the servers are brought down at pre-patch. That snapshot is going to be copied to Classic Era and for Burning Crusade and the current server you're on. So when you log in, I see Holly on Wyrmrest Accord. I'll see an option when I select Holly. Do I want to move on into Burning Crusade Classic, or do I choose to play in Classic Era? If I choose to move on into Burning Crusade Classic, I click the button, I'm off and running. So if I select my level 30, also originally named Halia character, and I decide, okay, this is my character, she's 30, I'm gonna go to Classic Era and continue leveling up and enjoying my experience in Classic with my friends, I select Classic Era. So what that's going to look like for me on Wyrmrest Accord that's moving on into Burning Crusade Classic is that character will look inactive. Then I will go to the Battle.net app, I will install Classic Era, then I will log into Classic Era to Wyrmrest Accord, the same server, and then I will be able to play Halia. I will have the same gold on both. I will have the same friends list on both. Everything will be completely the same. And then I will also have the option to play Halia on both. I can pay a fee and activate my clone on Burning Crusade Classic in that case and play both. And they will both have the same gold amounts that we had in the snapshot, same friends, etc. So it should feel the same and feel seamless. We're making a lot of effort to make it as smooth and as simple as possible.
All right, guys, that's the end of day 2. And normally this would be the moment in time where I say, leave a comment down below and let me know what you think about blah, blah. I'm not even going to do that today, you guys. Honestly, I am a bit embarrassed for a company like Blizzard to let something like this slip by. And I hope that I'm wrong. I hope that I got the wrong impression. Somehow I misinterpreted it. I hope I'm wrong. But unfortunately, I don't think I am. And I hope that they don't release it with the way that they've been explaining with all the cloning and you keep your money and this and that. But if you miss any of the news from day 1, make sure you go and watch the video that I released yesterday breaking down all of the information from day 1, and it was actually a lot of good news. Also, please, please, please subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be releasing more TBC content, and after BlizzCon ends, I'm going to be releasing a series of how all of the different classes change for pre-patch TBC. That means level 60 with our Naxxramas gear, but we have TBC talents and TBC updates. So what's going to change? Are hunters good now? Can we play Boomkin? Elemental Shaman? Enhancement, though, gets dual wield. So tune in for that, and until next time, guys, I'll see you later.